Hello, everyone. I hope you all are doing great and enjoying this cold weather if you're in United States and how uh, I mean it's not bad but it's quite chilly here and you just had a great Thanksgiving week with your family and friends. And today's topic is all about understanding the conflicts in relationships. And I think I picked up this topic because I really wanted to discuss. Lots of us don't understand how conflicts really starts and how long should we wait to basically see that if other person is going to compromise or going to talk about it. And there's some personal methods which I use it with my clients known as SMS. And what is the biggest roadblock when you're trying to resolve a conflict? And also the science and psychology behind it. And last but not the least is when you are trying to overcome a conflict, what all things you should be doing from your end. And I'll be discussing it all today. So I think this is the time of the year where family, friends, everybody's together and they're really in good mood. So there should not be any chance, I would say, of any conflicts. But if it happens, I really want you to get equipped with the things which I'll be talking today, where you are able to overcome it in any form or shape, right? So I think you should not feel that, oh, I cannot handle this conflict, right? I'm sorry. So I'll wait for a few seconds and then I'll get started. All right. So, as you know, I come here on the weekly basis. Do write comments, do write anything you would like me to take up upon, any good topic which you think it should be discussed. And also, please subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate that because these are the tips which I give it to my own clients and they have seen such great successes. And I'm sharing it with you all so that you also start to see any good results in your life. If you're having issues with, I would say, conflicts with relationships, right? And then you can ask me any questions pertaining to this topic. So, with that, let's get started. So, what are we talking here? We're talking about like we all have seen or have experienced the conflicts in the relationships, whether it's with family, with friends, with coworkers, right? So, how you can overcome and how you can see how serious that conflict is and what you should be doing, right? And how prolonged you should wait to basically see that it comes under a serious category, correct? So, and how these conflicts in relationship they start slowly and then it's like a when you're brewing a coffee, so it's slowly they get into your mind and most of us then face what the mental health issues without even realizing that it could be because of that particular topic discussed with that person, with your boss, with your friend, with your spouse, with your family, with your son, with your daughter, with your grandparents, so on and so forth, all the relationships, correct? So this is what we are trying to understand, that what happens when it goes out of control and then it becomes a huge mental health issue if the conflict is not resolved effectively. Okay, so according to the data, see, most of the conflicts which I have seen it even with my clients revolve around, could be a minor issues, but I'll discuss why it is so important. Okay, and the data shows 71.5% of the conflicts, occur because of aggression now from the both parties, right? It's not aggression. So one party starts with aggression, the other party takes on it, right? So if one person is talking to you more aggressively, or they started with the passive aggressive and then they become more aggressive, and then you also jumped into it, so what would happen? So both of you are in the same boat now, because both of you are dealing it with aggression. So conflict is nothing, you can have a disagreements with everybody. And I want you to have disagreements because you want to develop your own personality. The people who don't have conflicts are usually, they don't have a personality of their own. They become yes man or yes woman to everybody, whatever other person is saying. So definitely you should have conflicts. And they're healthy conflicts, right? So when you are trying to explain yourself, your point of view, and if other person is also able to grasp your point of view, so you've done a good job, right? So what are the root causes? Let's try to understand why this conflicts happen, so one of the major ones which I have seen it, and I've talked a lot about it after uh, coaching thousands and thousands of people, is the inner conflict. So see, whenever somebody is behaving outwardly in a way where it is not for the environment, if you're sitting in a group and somebody is trying to be loud and do things of that nature, so what does that mean? That literally means that that person, that person has some inner conflict going on before it comes out, right? The person who shows, you've seen people of all personalities, some people reserved, some people are more outward, but they express themselves pretty well, they enjoy themselves pretty well. But some people are reserved, they like to comment on people. So you might have seen this in the family and the friends, some reservations, and some people are extrovert, right? But the inner conflict is the one which is driving it. When you are arriving into a conflict, when somebody starts saying something, another person is not able to take it well, so the inner conflict is going on, that I have to get to that person no matter what. Like, let's say you are in a group of people, but the person comes back to you after a couple of days and they're still talking about the same thing. And you're not paying that much of attention, but the person wants to pursue it, like continuously talk about it. Now, that is like a person wants to pursue whatever the topic you left off at the party or at the meeting or something. So pay attention to those signs. Poor communication. Like when you have a poor communication, when you're not able to openly tell that person, it's time to, I would say sometimes, or the most of the times, which I've also discussed and taught my clients to back off. Healthy boundaries, very, very important. Please, people, even it's a party time of the year, even you're enjoying with your family and friends, but you need to set a healthy boundary. So no one should be able to force you to do something, right? Like have an extra drink or go to an other party. Like, I know, I totally understand that. I talk to my clients all the time. So most of my clients have shown this, that whenever there's a start of a conflict, there's always somebody who's forcing you to do something or influencing you. So please make sure, even it's a party time, you want to enjoy, but enjoyment also has a healthy boundary. Please understand this very clearly. Don't think that enjoyment means there should be no boundaries. People can go to any extent with you. No, please don't do that. Remember that. Even enjoyment has a healthy boundary. You need to understand that part. So it could be a friend, it could be a family member, it could be a coworker, it could be a boss, it could be somebody, you feel not comfortable telling them right away on their faces. But remember this, everything has a price to pay. Okay, so you have to come with the demeanor of, okay, this is this much I can take and this much I cannot take. Okay, and set the boundaries right away, so that otherwise the conflict is bound to happen in the later part of the time, right? So, lack of common understanding. Now, again, this is explaining to you all. So, lack of common understanding is what? So, if a person, let's say, you are in a setting, you are in a conference room, or you are somewhere, and you have shown your disagreement to something, and the person is not letting it go, right? So they, what are they doing here? They don't want to understand your point of view, so they lack empathy. So you clearly need to understand, if somebody is not able to understand your point of view, what you're trying to say, so they clearly lack empathy, right? Empathy is nothing, I talked a lot about it, because being an emotional intelligence, coach as well, where you are able to put yourself into someone else's shoes and see what they're going through emotionally. Okay, so that's very, very important. And then what do they do? Then the power play starts. So when the person is clearly showing the disagreement with you, and then what will happen? The power play starts. So they, what they want to do, they want to engage other people from the group, from the party, from the conference room, from anywhere, to go against you. So the power play starts to happen. So if you're in that kind of setting, right, even with your friends, so you will see, oh, if one of your friend is disagreeing with you, the third person will jump in. And what this person will do, they will start with the power play that you're on my side or their side, my side or their side. You might have seen it, right? So we have seen it in the school times as well. So are you agreeing with me? I'll give you this. Then they try to oblige you some way. You might have seen it as an adult and as an in your childhood. It's more prevalent in the childhood because kids are able to express it right away, but adults, they take time, they do it subtly, and I'll talk about that. So the manipulation, the power play starts. And also the root cause of a conflict could be somebody knows your trigger point. So some people are very good at manipulating other people's mind when they know your trigger points. Remember this. So don't show your trigger points so easily to other people. You know, you take your time where you try to understand other people and the other people try to understand you. Okay. So trigger point is one of the major ones when people know, okay, she or he doesn't like this, but I can still play around. And like I said, if they know your trigger point, they will try to do a power play or they will try to manipulate you more. All right. Then a very important one. I just want you to understand this fifth point, value conflicts. So, you know what your values are. Please never ever forget your values. You know, as a person, you should know if you're a kind person, you should know you're a kind person, right? And let's say if you have a compassion for something, you should know you should have. I'll talk the 10 most common values talked about, but we all know what values are. You should always remember your values. Please never ever forget that. Because if you forget your values, the people can easily cross the boundaries you're setting up. Okay, so remember that you have to have the right values in your life, correct? So, what are values are nothing but the guiding system, you know, the belief system, how you act and how you behave, right? So, for instance, if the value is like being very, if of integrity, so you're an honest person, you tell your truth, whether you're in front of one person or you're in front of 1,000 people. So you have that integrity in you where you can say your truth. So this is one of the values. Okay. So I'm just saying, so if you're that kind person, like if you like to say something, say it. Correct? So now the 10 values I'll be talking about. Okay. So 10 values are first is integrity. Be honest if you can be, because that gives the right, you become more authentic what you're trying to say. So if you want to say something, don't hold it back. You think it's not the place, or you can wait and see the right moment, but you must talk about it so that it doesn't give you in the end a rise to a conflict. Okay. Compassion. Now compassion is good to a limit. Please understand this, right? If your value is compassion, but you know what compassion, you're genuinely concerned about people, but when you see people are not responding you the right way, please hold back. So be compassionate at that time to yourself, because you might have seen it, your friends, are overly compassionate. You're trying to be more concerned, and the reciprocation is not in the right way. Please hold back. So talk it out. You know, talk to yourself about it. Okay, I want to do this, but I need to hold back. I know it's not easy. So many of my clients have faced it, and they have overly done it. So what they have become, people pleasing more. So please hold yourself back. Compassion is another value you should seriously think. So these are the 10 values I really want you to rethink this holiday season and think which one of you are more resonating with. Okay, the third one is gratitude. Of course, we have to be grateful for everything in our lives. Whatever you are doing, even if it's a friend, family, whatever you comes to your mind, three things, just be grateful, and always they should be on your tips. So you should not able to easily overlap with one and another. See, if you have a great friend, let's say, for example, so that great friend should come under the categories of friends, and that friend is on the top. Please understand this, okay? That friend has been with you through your tough times, through your good times, but that friend should come up, so be clear about what you want to do with your, you know um, things when it comes to a friend, and you're grateful for them. And so what happens most of the time when you're trying to go for the more quantity instead of quality, let's say in the case of friends or somebody, you lose the one who is there for you from the very beginning. So remember that. So gratitude, yes, you should be grateful for that. Kindness, you can be kind person, right? You are the person who has probably like to help people, and you're just kind, you just have a kind personality. That is great, that is nothing wrong with that. But like sometimes, I talk about, I was telling one of my clients, she's very sweet person, but kindness should be done with little bit of, thinking around it also. Kindness should not be like you're overly kind again. So these are the qualities which you resonate with. Write down top 5 after once I'm done, and see what you can work with them, because so that this whole thing will not lead you to any kind of conflict with some other person, okay? Then creativity, keep your creativity on. I keep talking to people about, like, don't forget how you can be creative in any way you want. You can be creative how you present yourself, you can be creative how you talk to people, you can be creative. So don't let other person influence your creativity. So if you keep your creativity high, you would see your emotional intelligence is pretty high, how to deal with the people, and thus it will not lead to any kind of conflict. Enthusiasm, you should be enthusiastic about anything you do. That gives you also being a little bit of mindfulness, because when you're enthusiastic about something, that means you're giving all your focus to it to an extent, okay? So that helps you. Fairness, you should be very, very fair to the people. I have uh, like people, I keep telling my clients, my even in my own friend circle, you have to be fair to everybody. There should not be nothing one is up and one, unless they set up a standard of that high level where you are connecting them at a different level. Okay, so you need to be fair. If something is doing something wrong, please be the first one to say, okay, this is not right, this is right, please do that, or start at least practicing that. This is all about this holiday season, what all you could do and what all values you can develop for yourself. The only time you can develop a value for yourself if you're resonating with it. So I want you to be very mindful when you're writing down your own values. Okay. Generosity, again, a great time at this time of the year or any time of the year, you have to be generous. Correct. Humility, you have to show the humility to the people who are kind to you. Now, again, the kindness is coming from outside, external kindness to you. So what you have to do, you have to be very deal with it in more humility manner. Forgiveness, now this is a big one. So I always tell my clients, yes, forgiveness is huge, but when you see a pattern in a person, let's say your coworker, your boss, your spouse, your friend, your family, your child, your parent, or any of those, when you see a pattern going on and on and on and on, forgiveness is absolute must, but don't forget about it. Okay, please pay attention to it. You can forgive that person. You will still not loving them less, but the forgetting about what the pattern has been going on, unless it's interrupted properly with the proper professional or a guidance, like a coach like me, you should not forget about it. Because then what you are doing, if somebody is doing something wrong to you, okay, let's try to understand it. And this, he's a very, or she's a very close family member. Most of my clients go through this situation, and you're not able to do anything about it, right? So now you've recognized the pattern of a person, but don't forget that it's going to get repeated again. How you're going to shield yourself is so important here. Okay, and if you're not able to do that, like somebody who's very close to you, emotionally connected to, seek a guidance or a professional help from a coach like me. We'll guide you through how to get through that if the person is very close to you. Okay, now, so what are the other issues? What happens if you are, let's talking about conflict, and now we have talked about the values which you should have. Now let's talk about something. a conflict can really, one of the most important ones is people with this, like statistically, I just explained to you, have issue is known as anger. So they start with the passive anger and they go into really angry mode. Okay? So what you need to understand, a person who's getting little bit angry with you, okay, and if you overlook it and you are not able to set the boundaries, it's going to get more angry with you, and eventually it's going to get aggressive. Please understand this. So whenever you see this kind of emotion entirely in anger form is coming out from someone in the conflict, don't ever overlook it. Don't ever do that. Okay? So anger starts with, like, somebody who says, even jokingly, an eye for an eye, I tit for tat. Oh, that's fine, I did it to you as well. As long as it is in the set boundaries of, I would say, healthy boundaries, I would say, and it's not affecting you mentally, and if it's not affecting the other person mentally, you are good. But the moment you see again the pattern I just talked to you about while I was talking to you about values, you would start to see the passive aggressiveness, commenting unnecessarily, trying to put you down in front of other people, things of that sort. And even it's going to be very subtly done to you. But always remember, anger is one of the biggest things when it comes to the conflicts in the relationships. And they start very subtly, you know. So, what happens if anger, let's say a mild anger, is not controlled? It will lead to some resentment, and eventually hatred, and then can go up to violence. And we have seen it with the clients. It goes, it explodes in the end because the person is not able to deal with their emotions of anger and the other person. So pay attention whenever you're going through this kind of situations. So the best way, what I say, when you're seeing somebody is being passive aggressively doing something to you, let's say commenting, your coworker, could be your family, friends, you pay attention to what is happening there. I know it's going to hit you hard, you'll feel bad about it, but that time keep it yourself if it's done at the first level. And I'll tell you the levels, that's very important. So, and then I want you to do the what I call as proper root cause analysis. A lot of people, I know it's a little many management stuff, but I really want to see where is that coming from if somebody's trying to show you, you know and if the person is talking about logical or illogical thing, you must be able to evaluate that, because some of the arguments, to your surprise and to my surprise, they start very logically. Like somebody's trying to tell you, okay, this work needs to be done, so it's very logical. One person is talking, one party is talking, other party is taking it, simple, the logical. But as it continues, it ends up being very illogical. Have you seen when it goes to the aggression part of the any conflicts you have, you're talking something which not even you started with. You started a very logical understanding of explaining things back and forth, and it ends up when you are in an aggression or in anger, you're not even talking logically. It becomes very illogical because now you're going into personal attacks, and then so on and so forth. Whether you've seen it with your coworker, professionally or personally, right? So a healthy conversation starts, and then it explodes into something. If you become, like, let's say, if you show the aggression first and then it so and so, it follows back and forth, and it becomes very logical. So a third person who's objectively watching two people would say that wasn't even the topic you started with, both of you. Have you seen this situation? Right? So this is what we're trying to understand, how to overcome this situation, right? So once when the conversation starts, and what is best you can do to resolve a conflict. Now, before I do the resolving of a conflict, which I've shared it with so many of my clients, I'll talk to you about the psychology or the science behind it, what is going on. So anger, whenever you see somebody's passive aggressively talking to you or is angry with you, what are they doing? Can anybody tell me what are they trying to do with you? Let's say if I disagree with you and I start to say, you do it this way. So what am I doing with you? If somebody can write it in the comments. So what am I trying to do? I'm trying to influence you. I'm trying to, whenever it goes to a level of aggression or anger, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to change you. And that's not good. So if you're giving me your point of view, and if I show a little bit my body language or the way I'm speaking to you more aggressively. So what am I trying to do? Oh, I don't think that's good. Oh, I think you should change it. Something of that sort. You might have seen it with your coworkers. So the subtly they're trying to tell you, I disagree with you, but I don't accept it. Has that ever happened with anybody? Because people disagree with you, but they don't want to accept it. So they don't want to acknowledge your point of view. They want to acknowledge only their point of view. Okay. So then what is the science behind it? Somebody is changing other person's behavior. And sometimes they do it once and sometimes they show it pattern. So psychology says when the disagreement starts, it starts very subtly, okay? But then it escalates to a level where you're just saying, oh, I wasn't, that is not my value. I wasn't even thinking like that. It wasn't even my topic. You end up being totally disturbed in your mind at what has just happened. And that can linger on for weeks to weeks. Like I tell you, I'll explain it to you how much you should wait when something of that sort is going on. Okay. So when I say that argue, so first thing I want to tell you, I call a method called LCD, which is very somebody when who's becoming aggressive. Now, this is the people who are showing little aggression in the conflict with you in a relationship. It could be your family member, your spouse, any of those categories. So first thing the LCD is L is stands for they lack empathy. So, have you seen in conflicts when you're having with somebody, all of a sudden they're disconnected with you? Like you're saying, oh, I like this situation, I like to resolve this particular project this way. And the person would say, no, they completely shut down. Have you ever had that situation? Or your spouse or your friends or somebody, girlfriend or somebody, you're saying, okay, I'm telling you this, let's go on a vacation in this way. Let's go to some place, place A, and she would shut down. No, so she's not even giving you a chance to speak, or your coworker is not even giving you a chance to speak. So they completely lack empathy. So that is a complete stone wall, right? So they shut down. So even if you're trying to say, oh, well, why she's or he's not giving me any reason, right? Your coworker or anybody, it's completely shut down as you're talking to a stone wall, basically. So they lack empathy, number one. C stands for competition. Some people you might have seen it. When they're doing that with you, remember, it is originating something from an emotion within them. And I'll tell you, to your surprise, it's known as jealousy. Because, like I said, I'm an emotional intelligence coach, so I talk a lot about emotions so that you can connect correctly. So, somebody, when he's trying to be very competitive with you, somebody who's trying to put you down in some way. So, what is that originating from? In them is the jealousy factor more. Okay. So, they have not, I would say, completely understood about their own emotions well. So that's what's showing out to be more in competitiveness. And that's why they're showing, and where this is coming from, it's their own personal jealousy factor, either with you, with the company, with so on and so forth. What are the relationships you're having conflict with? And the D stands for difficulty in understanding. Like I said, once stonewall is done, lack of empathy, completely done case, right? You cannot go further with them. Then the second one is it's like competition. Oh, okay, she's doing good or he's doing good. I need to do it too. Unnecessarily, some people are like that in especially the professional environment, right? And the last one is difficulty in understanding. So completely now the empathy was total stonewall shut down, but difficulty in understanding, okay, they're trying to understand you, but they don't want to do anything about it. Make sense? So some people are trying to say, okay, I know what your point of view is, but I can let it go this time. So what are the stages of now here, please, this is an important one. What are the stages of conflicts? Okay, in your relationship. First sign, I call it as SMS. So first sign is very subtle sign. Somebody's disagreeing with you, but they are showing into a pattern thing. So subtle, S stands for subtle signs. So pay attention when somebody is constantly or pattern they are developing into disagreeing with you unnecessarily. Okay, so there are times when you're even doing good about something, but this person has a habit of, this is their own behavior, by the way. So don't think it's about you. So they are developing into a habit. Now, the second stage is usually the M stands for mild anger. You know, they'll probably say something and then laugh it out loud. Make sense? So they would say, "Oh, this is not you should be doing," but ha, 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 that's okay. You know, something of that. So very lighter but passive aggressive. Now they're becoming more taking. They have taken the first signs and of anger towards you more seriously. That's a mild anger. It's fine. It's resolvable. You have no issues going on. It's fine. You can resolve it here. Third one is strong aggression, which stands for S. So SMS. So strong aggression, when it starts, it's develops into something more serious. So the person would have a behavior of harming you in some way, right? So subtle signs, I would say it stands for week or two. Mild anger, I would say, stands for 2 to 6 weeks. You can wait, 2 to 3 weeks, because you don't have to jump on something which you think it's not appropriate as well. So you need to see if the mild anger is going on for at least 2 weeks to 6 weeks. I would say I would wait, because sometimes, but then the strong aggression comes right at you, which is like, if it's going on for a while, more than 6 weeks with somebody, I think you definitely should seek a professional help, right? Because a person is constantly showing you something which is against your values and against you, right? And they could harm you. Now they could, I would say, backstab you. A lot of my clients had that issue, and they would go out, even professionally they could harm you, because I've seen one of my clients, she had that issue with one of her co-workers, and the co-workers took the initiative to go to the boss and say things which were not appropriate. So things can happen in the third stage, which is strong aggression has started to show. So, all right, so this is all about your conflicts, and I hope you're able to get something out of it, how to deal with the conflict the right way, right? So my experience of 8 years of coaching, 8 plus years of coaching, is this. So whenever you see somebody's trying to change you, whether it's these people have a habit of doing, you didn't need to you need to evaluate them in a form of pattern. These people would not show you once, they'll show you multiple times. Okay, so you need to be more on the side of observing things sometimes, which I call it, right? So when you say if someone does it once, twice, right, it's fine, it's a friend, something. But if they're showing constantly something to you, the signs, the mild signs, please pay attention to that. I mean, you would know your body. If you talk about, from if I talk as a scientist right now, physiologically your body would change. You feel constricted around this person, you don't feel comfortable, right? You might have seen it, if somebody's not good to you, they are not giving you good vibes, what happens? You constrict, you don't want to talk to that person, right? So remember, please pay attention, don't jump into things immediately, but you need to evaluate them, right? And if somebody's obsessing over you again and again, you really need to be careful, right? Somebody wants to talk only about you, whether to you directly or to friends, family, whatever. It's like over obsession. These people would some time down the lane, I can write it down because I've seen it with my clients, thousands of that, they would come back to you in a more aggressive way because they're obsessing about you. So be careful when somebody's obsessing about you, what you do, how you wear, what you look, like simple things, but they are not simple anymore when you see it's constantly happening. Okay. So now the last one, how to stop an argument. So number one, I would say become an active listener, like observe things, like if you're an adult, I'm sure you can do that. If you're a child, I know it's difficult, but if you're an adult, you can definitely do that. You need to listen, sometimes keep your mouth shut when you see you're uncomfortable, because your body or your mind would give you that subtle sign. Keep it with you. Okay, so become a better listener. So next one, I really strongly tell people, keep a distance. If somebody's trying to do it, like most of the people do it on the social media, or they're texting out their friends in not in the appropriate way, so keep a distance. So give, like I always say, the 3 days rule. So just relax, nothing is going wrong, nobody's running away anywhere, nothing is happening. But give yourself 3 days to really calm yourself down so that you don't respond in a way where the situation or the conflict gets escalated to a point and becomes a huge argument. Okay, so remember that. The third one is empathy. If other person is not showing empathy, I think you should start developing and showing some empathy. Understand what that person, like I said, 3 days rule. Basically give them some time, or if you don't want to do 3 days, only 3 hours, which I talk a lot about in my a lot of videos. 3 hours rule. Just when somebody has written something wrong or bad, wait for 3 hours, calm yourself down, and let's evaluate a situation in the more objectively rather than jumping onto something which is even not true. Okay, so open communication. Yes, you are in a relationship with the people, you have to have, if somebody's making you uncomfortable, you should be able to tell them, I'm sorry, I don't understand this, but if this is making me a little uncomfortable, can we talk about it? And if the person is open to it, great, you are in a great place to open up yourself. But if the person is not, so you're getting your answers that it's not going to be the way it looks like. Okay, and then that's one is I always say to my clients, like, first like I would say 2 to 3 times, laugh it out loud, lol, literally. Why I say that? Because it's okay, somebody's, because where they're coming from you don't know, and you are not there yet to basically judge them on anything. So just try to take it easy when it's a milder signs. You don't have to jump into any conclusions yet, but just try to take it more, like, I would say jokingly, more lightly, so that it doesn't affect your mental health. So remember, what I'm talking here, it's going to affect both parties or both people's mental health big time, because I've seen my clients, they have, after having major conflicts with their friends, with the family, with the co-workers, they have really uh, gone to the situation where they were having a lot of anxieties, and a medical level anxieties, where they were not able to control their mind to an extent. So that's, remember that that happens too. So that's why it can lead you to a lot of mental issues later, where you're not able to understand why this is happening to you, why become more aggressive. So have you seen, when you are in a company of somebody who's very aggressive, you all of a sudden become your little aggressive, and you say, why, that's not me, why I'm behaving this way? This is what happens. So slowly, that gets into your subconscious mind. Okay, so be careful. So always remember, try to take it lightly as long as it's not affecting your mental health. If it starts to affect, giving you sleepless nights, you need to understand there is more to it. Okay, and the last one, so always try to express your emotions clearly to the people. If you don't like something, like I said, say, stand for it. You don't like it, if you like something, stand for it, that you like something. Please be very clear in yourself. And I tell you, this is a very big technique in psychology, where people are able to really present themselves the way they are. They are the happiest people. Like, if I like you, I'll say I like you, but if I don't like you, so I'm detached to the situation, where if I don't like you, that's okay, move on. Right, so I hope that was helpful to you all. The topic was, now you should be able to resolve any conflict in your life in more productively and more healthier way. Okay, so here we have some questions. How to overcome conflicts with your girlfriend? So it depends what kind of conflicts you're having. Okay, Olivia? It depends how far the conflicts have gone. I've just told you, like, are they still in the milder stage? You can still talk to them. There's an open communication for you. Talk to them about it, that this is concerning. And if they really like you, and if they understand you as a partner, they would say, sure, I would love to listen to you apart, and the things can get resolved over there. But if the person is not listening to you, so there should be another ways to get their attention, where you are slowly trying to become more creative with yourself to show the partner that, okay, please pay attention to my needs. So values are very important, right? So try to understand where is it coming from. So there are 3 stages, like I just discussed with you. Just see where you are at. So open communication and active listening. Now once you have set up yourself for open communication in such conflicts, you have to become an active listener as well. So you have to understand their point of view also, which I talked to you just now about empathy, so understanding. So don't make it in the beginning, the conflict so difficult that you're not able to understand each other. Okay, so you are able to put yourself in their shoes, and they are able to put yourself in your shoes. So remember that. That's how the things get more healthy way, the more creative way resolved. And don't take it to the level of where it becomes a huge conflict. And like I said, if you have an anger issues, try to control yourself and keep a little distance. If you can't, you don't have to deal it all with it today. Go in bits and pieces, right? So you talk something about your values to her, or whatever the situation is, whatever you are having a conflict with, slowly and gradually develop, because you really want this relationship to work. Then you have to put in some right efforts, and from her side or from their side or his side, it's going to happen the same way. Okay. So all right, Rockstar says, Rockstar, I all failed to overcome conflicts. I know, Rockstar, I totally understand. There are times when you're not, like I said, you have to become little on the part of observing things, where you have become active listener. A lot of people lack this skill because they want to jump to the conclusion, because they don't want to respond to a situation conflict. They become more reactive, right? So I want you to take this 3 hours or 3 days rule if you are going through, and you need to analyze the whole situation. You need to, the root cause of that conflict, the root cause analysis is so important. Where is it coming from? Or it is just a probably a superficial one, where it was just in the mild signs, right, which I talked to you about, SMS, or it is going on for a while, then you have to analyze that, or it has gone beyond 6 weeks and you're not able to resolve it. So things like that. So you need to analyze yourself as well as the conflict in the right way, more objectively, and not emotionally getting attached to it. So that will help you to overcome most of your conflicts, right? So if it's a closed one, if it's a close family member, then you do a little different because you're emotionally connected. And if it like it's a coworker, you can still detach yourself, but sometimes these situations can overlap as well. So you need to do the proper, I would say, root cause analysis of any situation or any conflict you're having right now. And you should, I give you all the tips, you can pick and choose how to go about it, and you should be able to overcome any conflicts in your life. All right. So I think this season, this beautiful season of holidays, I think you, if you're having any issues to or anything to resolve or any conflicts to resolve, you'll be able to take it well, and you'll be able to. I gave you all the tips and the tricks how to do it, resolve it in much healthier way, and also that will help your mental health and their mental health, and it brings out the best of both of you and more happier of you during this time of the year. All right. Thank you so much for being with me, everybody. I will see you next week with another topic. And like I said, you all have a wonderful day and enjoy this holiday season. Thank you so much.